welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
It might be a series of one episode. We'll see. Andrea, do you want to tell them about our podcast?
Well, the reason we've thought about doing this for a long time. In fact, we've had a lot of requests to do one, but we really didn't know what we would want it to be. And then we just had the idea that it could be an outgrowth of what Knitrino is. A little part community. We'll have special guests and even knitters come on, and also to be a way to grow together. So sometimes we'll feature little tutorials or little tips and tricks, which we will do today. But we thought for our first episode, it'd be really nice to talk about our Knitrino journey too. Because a lot of people maybe just don't know how we started.
I think that's true. And a lot of our followers on YouTube, I think, just love our videos and don't even know about Knitrino, which feels funny to me. But yeah, so I'm Allison and this is Andrea, and we are knitting sisters and co-founders of Knitrino, which is a knitting app that offers curated projects and patterns to give you a much more, I think, intuitive user experience. It's a little like Google Maps or Waze, helping you navigate through the pattern. I should be able to say that more eloquently than I did, but I wasn't prepared. Anything to add to that, Andrea?
No, but I mean, I think in the early days, that was like a light bulb moment that we had, is when we thought of how Google Maps had changed how we navigated roads. I was gonna get my lab notebook, and we could talk about what we did in the very beginning.
Well, we'll do that next time. Let's show. It's so fun to see the evolution of Knitrino. To see like the mock-ups that we did and how it changed.
Yes, that's for next time.
Yeah, we'll see. So we started this business over 4 years ago. Over 4 years ago, we started investigating. We decided to go talk to knitters and see if they even wanted a knitting app, to learn really how they knit, why they knit, what they knit, and what they would need if they were using a pattern on their phone. Because what we saw was a lot of people trying to use the current state-of-the-art patterns on their phones, which is just a PDF. And we saw, just if you just watch someone trying to knit from a PDF on their phone, it's really enlightening, just to watch their facial expressions and all the things they're doing, and the constant zooming in and out and panning and scrolling. And it was just a very enlightening experience, I think, for us to, because where we started is nowhere near where we ended up. We learned a lot. And so that was in 2018, we decided we were going to explore this and see if people even wanted something from us. And then we started the company in January of 2019. And
that's hard to believe.
I know.
So we spent 4 years. So just so we can clarify, Knitrino hasn't been around since 2019 as an app that you can use. Yeah. It took us
2 years.
2 years to get the app built, including time and beta.
We spent at least a year in beta testing. So everything in Knitrino was built with user input and feedback. We really love the agile methodology of just putting something out there as a rough draft, getting feedback, all feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then improving on it. And I think that's the best way to make sure that what you're building is what people want. And so we spent a year doing that. And in the early days, go ahead, Andrea.
Yeah, well, I think we should start with the early days. Even before we were iterating on what Knitrino should be, we started by talking to knitters, and we spent countless hours interviewing knitters, and they were so gracious to us. Like, our interviews lasted an hour to sometimes 2 hours, because people's stories were so moving, or their experiences were so terrible, like the time that someone had to rip their whole sweater out because they had lost their place and they didn't know where they were.
Yeah,
and we are so grateful.
We are, like, we still are grateful. Some of those knitters are still with us, you know, and some we've lost touch with, but it's been a long journey with a lot of community input and support. And I think that just makes all the difference.
I want to make a point.
Yeah.
We did ask people, like, if you had 3 wishes, what would you want? No one said, I need a knitting app. And it took us a while to realize that even though they didn't say it, that was the thing that would solve all these problems, because they were losing their place, or they didn't know how to do a technique and they had to put their pattern down and go to their computer and use YouTube.
Or they found the wrong video on YouTube and they did it the wrong way because what they were using didn't go with, you know, the pattern they were knitting. And then
the people that would build their charts out in Excel.
In Excel or in Adobe, they would make little colored blocks for their color work charts. And that to them was a good use of their time. And there's a kitten. That's Ariel. She looks adorable and cuddly, and she is. And then suddenly she turns on you. Yeah.
I'm nervous now, everyone.
Vicious. There'll probably be a cat attack before the end of this podcast. All right. Oh, look at the kitty. I see the kitty tail.
Half a tail.
Half a tail. Yeah, she did lose part of her tail. That was a good story, but we'll save that for later too. It's a good one. Anyway, so after we did, you know, these bajillion interviews, it was a lot. Like we really wanted to make sure we understood, you know, how people were interacting with their patterns, how they were working. And in fact, we didn't even start with patterns. That's not even where we started, but we'll leave that.
Yeah, just their knitting.
Yeah, just their knitting. And yeah.
Well, and then I want to say, after that, those were really long interviews, like an hour or 2 hour interviews. And we interviewed knitters, we interviewed yarn companies, we interviewed dyers, we interviewed farmers. We wanted to know stories from all sides. Yep. Designers, of course, yes. But then after that, when we kind of had some ideas, we would go to knitting shows, and no one knew who we were. We were just knitters. And it was so intimidating, Allison. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, and extra intimidating because in the very early days, I was not a knitter. Like I told Andrea when we started this company, I said, you know what? I have too many hobbies. The last thing I need is another one. And I don't have enough time to do the things I love now. I'm not going to learn to knit. It will be fine. You know, as from a product perspective, you don't necessarily have to do the thing that you're building the product for to really understand it. But I would go to these shows with Andrea and I knew nothing. Like people would tell me words that I was like, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Garter stitch. What's garter stitch? And so after a month, I think, maybe 2, I said, okay, that's it. You got to teach me. And now here I am knitting all the things. So, but yeah, Andrea, you were saying how intimidating it was to go to these shows and just, we would cold call people.
We had Kindle tablets.
Oh yeah, I've still got mine.
Allison would build like a little survey on, and we would just ask people questions. Like it was multiple choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It would. There'd be these really quick surveys, usually just a few questions, and we just ask them, hey. We'd go up to people when they're waiting in line for their lunch because they're already waiting, so you're not stopping them from doing anything. And we'd just be like, hey, want to take a quick survey? Here's a button. we would give away buttons, and somewhere around here I have
I have some right here.
I got my first one. Oh, there's my head.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Sorry.
These are the new ones.
These are the first ones, except I took the autofocus off on my camera. So it's our very first logo. Let's see, where's focus? group out there. And I made this logo in PowerPoint. Very sophisticated, but we just needed something, right? We knew it was a placeholder. Anyway, so those were the early days. And then, you know, at the end, we just always asked people if they wanted to join the wait list to find out what we did, which was nice because then it helped us kind of build up so we could let people know when we did launch, right?
I can still remember so many of those people, and there's a lot of them are still around too.
Yeah. And, you know, 99.9% of them were lovely. And we won't mention the other 0.1.
I can remember her, the one.
Oh, there's more than one. But anyway, we're gonna keep it positive here. Can-do attitude. So anyway, we then you know, started building mock-ups. So I would build they're essentially like little websites that you could interact with. And so I build little mock-ups on these websites, and we'd actually have people, we do knit along. So we'd have people knitting from our mock-ups, because that really gave us a lot of insight. Like, okay, what are you doing here that isn't working? And it fit on their phone, right? It's a little website designed to work on your phone. And like, you know, we heard over and over, oh, it's not saving my place. And we're like, well, we know that. That's the drawback of this website. And you know, we learned so much about what people were doing, what they were expecting, how they wanted it to behave, that it wasn't behaving. And so that's what we spent a good year on before we even engaged a development team, because Andrea and I are not developers.
I was just going to say, I was remembering those mock-ups, and I remember it is how we decided what features we needed. Yeah. And I remember everyone was trying to pension Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
And Zoom was the hardest thing we had to do.
Doesn't it seem like that should be, I mean, this is the future. It should be really easy to Zoom. And even now you can't pinch and Zoom in Knitrino because we can't afford it. We would love to add that. But yeah.
You can Zoom. It's just not as it's not as easy as
you can't pinch and Zoom. Yeah, there's a Zoom feature, but it's a slider. So but it meets the need. It's just not quite as intuitive as we want it to be. But we won't be apologists. It's still really wonderful, and I think better than a lot of other things out there.
Oh, I know. And in fact, people that use it a lot, when they have to use another pattern, they now do Knitrino features, like they try to swipe.
Yeah, that's what one of our test knitters was telling us. She started test knitting a non-Knitrino pattern. And she was like, what is this? I can't swipe on it. I'm trying to swipe on it and it's not advancing my row. So yeah,
I do that too.
We love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we left out an important part of the story. We both quit our jobs to do this.
Oh, we did. Yeah. There's no income, no salary right now.
And we both quit our jobs to do this, and we built it on our own savings. Like it's expensive to pay someone else to write good code for you. And we had to pay for that. And we're really proud that
the first quote we got, we were like, oh, that's ridiculous. We can do it. Because we got other quotes and they're like, oh yeah, it'll just be $30,000. And we're like, okay, we're going to try that. Yeah, that didn't work. So yeah, it's expensive. And the first quotes we got, we thought were outrageous. And it turns out, no, they weren't. They were maybe a little low. And so we actually went through, we hired 2 development teams and just had them do this little mini, like the tiniest bit of coding for us, kind of the core of Knitrino. And we decided, so we're going to have them each do it. They can do it however they want, whatever they think is best. And then at the end, we'll pick the one that's better, right? Because that way we could kind of compare them without investing a whole lot. And instead we fired them both and started over. So it's really hard to not only build an app, but to find a developer that you can communicate with in a way, because a lot of developers, they're just thinking about code, and we're not. We're thinking about use, what's the knitter trying to accomplish, and then we have the design, like this is how we want it to look and function. We need you to help us build it. And so bridging all those gaps was really challenging.
Well, did you say it the way we used to say it? It was like there were 3 language barriers.
I didn't say that,
Because
but there were 3 language barriers, because often we were working with people who were English as a second language. So we had a real language barrier. And then we had the development language barrier, which is we don't speak code. We're not programmers. And they wanted to use jargon for everything. So they're like, oh yeah, I can just use this API on the back end. And, and so we're always trying to decipher what they're saying while trying to communicate what we want. So that was the second language barrier. And the third one was knitting. They could not get their heads around what we were trying to convey. And so we found that like really spending the time to try and bring them along, like this is what we're doing with this product. And it doesn't help us if it doesn't work in the way, that we, if it doesn't work how we need it to, that's useless to us. So it was incredibly challenging. And on top of all that, the pandemic happened, and then I broke both my elbows. And then we'll leave off the worst of it. So anyway, finally we launched.
That was the year we launched. Yeah. That was the year we launched. It was during 2020. We thought we would be launching in the spring, and we were going to launch at an event. And it was the first event to get canceled. And that year was just so tough for us. I mean, it was tough for everybody, but trying to launch a company in a world that has just flipped on its head, and Allison breaking both of her arms.
Yeah, and not being able to do anything. Like, not just not being able to sit at a computer and type, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't brush my hair. I couldn't brush my teeth. All the other things.
Well, that's not even the worst of it for our company. Sorry about your personal hygiene, but Allison does a lot of these things that are technical and uses software that we didn't really talk about who we are as part of the company. I am not technical. I don't really, necessarily love using technology. I do love using Knitrino, but so there were all these things that have to be done to run our company that I had no idea how to do. And our developer, Phil, was able to get me going on them.
He's amazing. Phil.
It saved us. Yeah.
Shout out to Phil. We think of him like our little brother. We love Phil.
He's probably not that little.
Yeah, he's younger than we are anyway. Not that little, but younger. Anyway, not that age matters. We're not ageist. So anyway, we did eventually launch, and there was much rejoicing. And then, of course, everything proved to be harder than we thought, even after we launched. Oh, it turns out it's hard. Yeah. I mean, we knew it would be, but anyway, all that, it's not a sob story. We have a wonderful, wonderful community of knitters. We are so excited with the people who use Knitrino every day and, support us, and we love them so much. And that's a big part of the reason I feel like we're doing this is, we love them. So, well, Andrea, why don't you tell me what you're wearing?
Hey, yes, let's talk about knitting. Maybe we should have started with that. I am wearing a couple things that are available in Knitrino. Allison and I are wearing our matching geofade sweaters. They're not exactly matching. You can see Allison and I flipped the blue and the coral color.
Yep.
So cute. I love being with you when we're matching.
Yeah.
I mean, I love being with you always, but it's more fun when we're matching.
But when we match, it's even better. So sweet.
And then I'm wearing my Kimberlite pipes, which is not as hard as people seem to think it is. Great. It's a great lace project. It's not that hard, but it is so wearable. It is so squishy, and it's not hot, and it wraps around your neck so perfect. I wear this all the time, and I have had some requests for gifts. And one thing I love with intention is that a lot of Knitrino projects, if you get the kits for them, they're made to coordinate with each other. So like the yellow in this coordinates with my geofade.
Yeah, we do try to be thoughtful about, what do you call that? Mood boards, palettes.
Yeah.
I say we, but that's Andrea's side of the business. I just knit in the colors she tells me to. And
But we also did work with consultants too to help us plan our collections, and professionals.
So, yes, I am also wearing geofade, and I am wearing a much bulkier version of A Little Naughty, which is this, also in Knitrino. It's this adorable little scarf. Actually, there, you can see. So this is, I made this one a little bigger and thicker because it's for skiing. So it's not gauged. The way it's designed, it's a little daintier, which I like, but it's got this very clever, I just lost it. Where'd it go? Here it is. It's designed with this very clever hole in it so that it's a petite little scarf, and you can just put it around your neck and cinch it tight, and it stays put. And I love it. And we have a longer version too that you can kind of wrap twice and tuck. That's a little more like an ascot. So we do refer to it as an ascot quite a lot. But
do you want to show my picture?
Oh, I was gonna do that as if I didn't realize it was there later when I'm doing the demo. But I could do the demo now. Should I?
Yes.
So one of the things that made us, first of all, think, okay, we should really do a podcast, and second, think, and let's talk about knitting and show some demos, is that the videos for this on YouTube have done really well. Like, people are loving our, what we call our reverse half yarn over. And it makes me realize again that a lot of people want to know how to do something, but it's just not easy to find. And so they found our video on YouTube. And so we
should talk about our videos, because maybe not everyone who finds them on YouTube even knows that those are the videos that are embedded in Knitrino.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to, if iCloud doesn't make me accept their new terms, I've been ignoring them for a long time. I'm going to join this call. Now, I'm going to find a way to balance this. It's a little tricky, all these tools. Before I do my little demo, look at this. So this is Andrea and her chicken. Is this Eunice?
I think it's Ethel. I got confused yesterday.
So there they are. They're both wearing their little naughty scarves. So Andrea, tell us about Eunice.
She's a naked neck chicken,
or Ethel. Sorry, he said Ethel. Yeah.
I can't remember. Maybe that is. I feel like that's Eunice. Eunice and Ethel are almost identical twins, and I can never kind of remember who's who. Which is why you probably shouldn't name your identical twins names that are so similar. But Eunice, when you have a naked neck chicken, there are no feathers on their neck or on their behinds. And I thought it would be really cute to put the scarf on her. And I took a video of it, because when I did it, she was very interested. Like, when I was wrapping it around her little neck, she looked up like, what is going on? And she wasn't scared at all. She's really cute in it.
She enjoyed it. And I will say, if you need to make one for your chicken, we do have a very limited number of kits left for this one. It just launched this month, so I don't expect those will stick around real long, but it is very nice cashmere. Only the best for Andrea's chickens.
Yes, here it is. I'll show you the yarn.
Well, show it in a minute because I'm screen sharing. So
okay.
All right. So now, enough of that. Let's go back to this. So I'm going to zoom in a little, and you're going to help me stay in frame.
It looks good.
Okay, it's a little pink. Sorry about that. That's my LED lights. They're a little pink. Okay, and unfortunately my decan is, I'm gonna just move this way a little bit. Whoa! Okay, there we go. So, and I actually, maybe before I even do this, let's do this real quick because I need to look at the pattern. Here it is. Oh, I had it open. So I will say, it is your phone that decides when to relaunch apps. It is not Knitrino's fault. It's that I have too many things open in the background. So I'm gonna click on this. Now this is the pattern that I'm knitting. This is the a little naughty. And so with Knitrino, you always get the charted version of what you're knitting and the row by row instructions. So you can see I'm on row 19, and this is one of my lace rows. And if I look at the chart, I can see I have a slip stitch and then some knits, then the lace all the way across. And the little red borders mean that you're going to repeat those stitches. And you can see that aligns with the repeat in the text at the bottom, the part in brackets, those are the repeated stitches. So if ever you don't know how to do anything in Knitrino, you can just click on it. So, and since we're talking about the half yarn over and the reverse half yarn over, I can click on those, which are these little ellipses, and you'll get a video that shows you how to do it. And because this is a unique situation, because people who knit English style and people who knit continental experience this yarn over very differently, we show both versions and we show both right and left-handed. So there are 4 versions of this in this little 1-minute video. So first you'll see right-handed English style and then right-handed continental, and then skip to the left-handed. I might have that backwards. It might be, yeah, it's first right-handed English, left-handed English, but that doesn't matter. And then, you know, if you ever need to navigate around, you can swipe forward and back here, and that's how you save your place. The backside rows, since this is knit flat, you can see the backside rows are shown hashed, but I'm on a front side row. So I need to slip 1, knit 3, and then do my lace, which is purl 1. Oh, that's the repeat. Knit 2 together, reverse half yarn over. Okay, I got it. So I'm going to switch back to my camera here. And I'm going to zoom in a little. I'm going to go this way, and then I'm going to zoom in. Okay, here we go. So to talk about the reverse half yarn over and the half yarn over, they are subtly different. We use these when there is a purl stitch involved. Now, Andrea, oh yeah. So my lace, I've got to knit 2 together. And then when you're going from a knit style stitch to a purl style stitch. And what I mean by that is the yarn is in back for my knit 2 together, and then I need to come to the front for my purl, right? But there's a yarn over in between. If I do a normal yarn over as a continental knitter, I will go all the way around my needle and then come back to the front. So if you can see, that is a very large yarn over. Normally with a yarn over, if I was going from a knit 2 together to a knit, I would go around essentially once, right? I start at the back, go around to the front, and end at the back. But now I'm starting at the back, going around to the back again, and then back to the front. So I'm going around the needle almost 1.5 times really to do that purl. That's if I did a normal yarn over. And that's where this reverse half yarn over comes in. So instead of going around 1.5 times, I'm just going to go from the back to the front. And when you knit continental, it's a little tricky because just of how you hold the yarn. So what you do is you go from the back over the needle and end at the front, and then do your purl stitch. But see, you got to hold that yarn over on with your finger if you knit continental, or otherwise you'll lose it. So there you go. And now I've got my little yarn over there. And now the reason we do the half yarn over like that is because on this side, when you go from a purl to, this is a slip knit that comes next, you're going from the front, my yarn's in front, over the needle to the back for my next stitch. And so that's the half yarn over, right? So I wouldn't want 1.5 needle circumferences on one side and half on the other. That makes them match. So it's probably a little hard to tell here. I can zoom in just a little more. Probably a little hard to tell here, but if I do, let me do the next one. Let's see, I might exaggerate it a little too, just so you can see. Now I'm doing if I did a regular yarn over like this, and then my half yarn over, which would again be normal, just in the carrying the yarn in the normal way. So you can kind of see how much bigger that yarn over is than this one. And then, so I'm just gonna skip to the end here. I'm not continuing my lace because I want to show you how to resolve that. So on the next row, now what you've essentially done is twisted that stitch. 1 second while I get my fingers back in the right place here. So I think I just did that wrong too, but that's fine. So let me just skip back. Just knit this, I suppose, but am I staying in frame? I zoomed in so much, it makes it a little hard.
Yeah,
okay,
good.
So here I am. Now this is the that extra big yarn over from not doing the reverse half yarn over. But so that one, if I did it that way, which is not the way we recommend, right? That's on the needle the normal way. There's nothing special I would have to do about that one. So if you do it the normal way, I mean, it will turn out fine. Your lace will look a little bit imbalanced. Now, when I get to this one, this is where you see the special bit. So here's my half yarn over and my reverse half yarn over. And you can see this one's on the needle backwards. It's like a twisted stitch almost. It's just a yarn over though. So you're gonna purl that and purl this. And then when you get to this one, you're essentially purling through the back loop. So see, I brought my needle in through the back leg and then I'm purling. And what that does is it just untwists it. Now, if that's confusing, oops, it should be on the needle this way. Is that right? Oh, now I got myself all confused. Yeah, that's the way it should be. So that's the reverse half yarn over. Let me just make sure I'm getting myself confused. So I purl this one. Yeah, purl this one. Now, normally you would purl this through the back loop like this. And if that's too confusing for you, you can also just flip it around and then purl it like normal. That's the same thing. It's the easier way if it's confusing. There you go. And that, my friends, that, my friends, is why we use the reverse half yarn over. And in our pattern guide for this, I have a lot more videos and explainers, and I even show you the difference, like some lace, and it's somewhere in here, but I don't remember where, so I can't show you right now. But you'll see the difference between working them as normal and using those reverse half yarn overs. So hopefully that was not too rambly. Andrea, anything else that you want to see? Oh, I just realized I wasn't on camera that whole time. I should have brought my camera with me.
Oh, I would say, as someone who doesn't knit continental, that if you knit, what's the way I knit called?
English.
English. If you knit English, if you knit English, you're a thrower, and it's so easy to do these. You just don't move the yarn, like it just leave.
And watch that little video. You can find it on our YouTube channel if you don't have the pattern, or buy the pattern and it's right in there, right where you need it. I don't know why I did it that way. I was going to show people how to do it, but I have to go back.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm not
It's
gonna
so
worry
easy
about it.
if you
Yeah, when you knit English, the yarn over is just automatically generated is the word.
automatically.
Because you have the yarn essentially, where's my yarn? You have the yarn in back, and then all you do is insert for your let's see, what do you do, Andrea? You insert for your purl stitch and bring the yarn
Yeah.
to the front. I'm not doing it
Yep.
right, obviously. And then your yarn over is just instantly created. Oh, there you go.
And it's kind of what happens a lot when people are learning how to knit, going between a knit and a purl. If you forget to move your yarn, you'll add a stitch.
Yeah. Oops.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm back. So hopefully that was fun and informative and not too boring. I'm trying to scoot my chair back over. Excellent. So all of that again is a little naughty. I don't know if we can put the link. I'll try putting the link in the podcast if anyone's interested. Yeah. So here's Ariel back to say
Can you
hello.
hear how loud she's purring? She stopped purring because she didn't like that.
That was sweet. She seems so sweet.
When she purrs loud like that, you know you're about to lose a
Don't be
limb.
fooled. Gonna lose an eye.
Normally, I think when we do our podcast, we would kind of maybe show what's on our needles, but I don't think I have anything on my needles that I can show.
Yeah, I don't. Here's a tip though, for people who are interested in what's coming next. You can often cheat by seeing what videos are posted to our Vimeo or YouTube account, because sometimes the videos show up before the pattern launches. So just keep that in mind if you like a little sneak peek. It's a good way to do it. Although I've been waiting to push from Vimeo to YouTube until after the pattern launches, but it's one more step anyway. All right. Well, everyone, we hope that you have had fun listening to us ramble and tell our stories and show knitting.
Ramble.
Okay, good. Andrea says we didn't.
I mean, we probably did a little bit, but not bad, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. What we would love from all of you thousands of knitters who watch our podcast, we'd love to hear your feedback. So if you enjoyed this, let us know. If you'd like to see things differently, let us know. If you'd like more videos, more tutorials. We do plan to have some special guests going forward. We just kind of want to get our feet under us first and establish our podcast before we start inviting people. We, get them an audience of a few people at least. So yeah, let us know what you want to see, and we're all ears. We love feedback. It's kind of a big value of ours is always improving. So thank you for watching. And
we did it.
We'll see you next time.
Bye everyone.